Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Shout out to all the subscribers and thanks to anybody new locked in. So, David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, is scheduled to fight Olexsandr Gvozdyk. This fight hasn't been officially signed yet, but Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC president, has announced this fight. And I think it's a really interesting fight. I'm a big fan of David Benavidez. I love his fighting style. I love his attitude to the sport. I love his go-get mentality. And obviously, look, he's had to take other routes because a certain Canelo Alvarez is just simply will not fight him. And that's a borderline travesty, because that's one of the best fights in boxing right now, stylistically, and just a massive event. But it is what it is. You got to just keep it moving. And David Benavidez moving up in weight. He's a massive 168 guy, so it should be fairly straightforward for him. But Gvozdyk poses quite a challenge for him, because look, Olexsandr Gvozdyk, obviously he took a bit of time off. He's come back. He's got 3 wins in a row. I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly who he beat, but there weren't like major names or anything. But he's been in the win column. And I know after Benavidez, there was an interesting, well, no, I wouldn't call it interesting, slightly worrying situation for him actually, because I know he went to hospital, and they were doing some precautionary checks on whether he had bleeding on the brain and stuff like that, and it was all very serious. And then he retired, so that was a bit concerning, because when you are in the ring with somebody like Benavidez, Matias, and Benavidez, actually I made a video about these guys. It's like being in the spider's web. Yeah, you are basically, that's your starting point, and to get out, it's going to be extremely difficult, and let alone to come out unscathed. And he did the best against anybody has done against Benavidez, but look, he probably took a psychological beating in that fight. Benavidez wore him down. So for him to now take this fight, we got to commend it. You got to commend it. You really do. Even though he's probably might be the bigger man, or it's in his division, it's still a massively dangerous fight. Benavidez comes to fight, he makes you fight, and he puts hands on you. But Gvozdyk has certainly got the style to diffuse Benavidez. I'll do a bit more film study the closer when the fight gets made and stuff like that. But if there is a weakness in Benavidez, it is his footwork. It is his lack of ability to cut the ring off. I'll do, like I said, I'll talk about that in more detail, because cutting the ring off is actually a lot more psychological than people will even realize or understand, because it's a mentality that you have to consistently do round after round. In each round, there's moments where you've got options to make, and it's shutting that gap and that distance and cutting off the area where your fighters are going, not just to cut it off, but to maintain that mental pressure. And there's so many ways to do it. Benavidez isn't very good at it, and he's really good at a lot of other stuff. He's got a tremendous punch selection. He can punch really hard. He's extremely brave. He's almost borderline sadistic in there. When he gets hit, he really smiles back at you, and that's psychologically draining for another fighter to have. So Gvozdyk, he's gonna probably feel like he's back in there with Benavidez, not as Benavidez, you know what I mean? But Benavidez isn't far off. But look, stylistically, he's got a good amateur background. He can box, he can move, he can jab, and like I said, his footwork's very good. He does cause some problems for Benavidez, so it makes for an interesting fight. I think it really does. And Benavidez coming off a great year, really, winning against Plant. I picked him to beat Plant and Benavidez. I actually picked him to knock out Plant late, but I didn't think Andrade had a chance, really. I was like, I can't really see Andrade winning that fight. I can't see him knocking him out. I can't see him outpointing him. And Benavidez got it done a lot earlier than I think a lot of us thought, but it was pretty easy, really. He probably lost a couple of rounds early on, but his timing's getting better. He's getting more intelligent, and he's setting the shots up more. And look, he can counterpunch too, and that is something that is just such a great weapon when you can counterpunch. He's got a very good left hook counterpunch specifically. He caught that with David Lemieux. But he can throw it, and it's quick. His hand speed's outrageous for the size that he is. And you know what I mean? He's getting better, but he's in the gym, and I think he's going to be in some massive fights in the future, because he can just move up to light heavyweight, and the light heavyweight division is slowly coming along. You know, there's some divisions in boxing now that are slowly creeping up there. 168's one of them too. We know about the 140 division. And, you know, when a year or two goes by in boxing and all of a sudden it's like you get these fighters, they might either move up in weight or just things appear, like, you know, Anthony Yard and Boazzi. I know they've been in there, but, you know, now that they're starting to really get to the surface, and they start to, you know, hopefully challenge Ben Whittaker as well from the UK. Shout out to the UK guys locked in. And shout out to the Australians, shout out to the Puerto Ricans, shout out to the Americans, anybody that's locked in right now from around the world, Uzbekistan, wherever. I make videos from all over the place, so I just appreciate anyone's, you know, attention, basically. So thanks a lot. But good fight. Let me know your thoughts on this fight, and let me know your thoughts on Olexsandr Gvozdyk. Do you think he actually has the mental capacity to hold on, given what he's already gone through against Benavidez, and that he was rushed to hospital? And I know it was precautionary, but it was still, you know, when you do get beaten like that and mentally broken, and then you do end up in hospital, and then you retire, it is a bit of a worry, especially when you're going back in there with somebody like Benavidez. But nonetheless, great fight. Hopefully we can get an announcement soon and get the date soon. And in terms of videos, more videos for this channel, I've got a bunch of videos coming. I've got some film studies coming. I've got some mini documentaries coming. I've got videos like this where I'm just going to ramble and, you know, try and take this channel to a new level. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great week.